everybody, welcome to another episode of the Philosophy Podcast. I am your host, Controversy, and to my right, ladies and gentlemen, my co-host, none other than Mr.
Darren Love.
And together, we are the Philosophy Podcast. Thank you to you guys for tuning in to a brand new episode. Thank you for tuning in once again this week, guys. And yeah, like we always say, what is on the agenda for this week, mate? What is today's
hot topic?
That's it.
I thought we'd talk about personality today.
Personality. Good one, mate. Very, very, very good. Yeah. What are your thoughts then, mate, and your opinions on personality?
I'll just take these off a minute,
Yeah.
because I just thought it'd be funny to start a show off like that.
Yeah.
No, I just think everyone, each one of us got a different personality.
Oh, definitely. Most definitely.
Some people are lazier
Yeah.
than other people. I think, and so on. I just think some people are good at maths or interested in maths, and I think there's just so many different personalities out there.
Yeah. We're all unique, aren't we?
Yeah.
All individuals, we're all very similar, but we all differ a lot as well. We all like different things, have different hobbies, different passions, different likes, different pleasures, different whatever.
I think we know different things too, don't we?
Yeah. Some people are more intelligent than others, and some, that's just the way life goes. Some people are more knowledgeable, some people are more intelligent, some people are more artistic, some people are more sporty
or religious.
Sporty, like I was saying. Some people, might excel with academics. Some people might excel in the sports world. They might be a professional basketball player or a football player or whatever. You know what I mean? So.
Personally, I don't like watching sport whatsoever. I never have done.
Yeah.
But I don't mind playing these games. Like for instance, cricket. I used to play cricket at school.
Bit of fun.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But watching it is another thing, but some people enjoy watching it.
That's true, yeah.
Some people like watching racing and
Formula One and
yeah. Some people don't like football, but they like cricket. And I think it's just a spectrum of different people out here.
Yeah. I must say personally, I do like football and I do like cricket, but I must say I favour football a hell of a lot more these days, if you see what I mean. I've always been a Newcastle supporter ever since I was a child. I've spoken about it before, so I won't go too in depth or anything, but I've always supported Newcastle United ever since I was a child up until this day. And I can't say that I'm like an avid football follower and football watcher like I used to be when I was younger, early 10, 11, 12, 13 years old, that kind of age bracket where I used to, was madly in love with football. But after that, once I started really once I left school and kind of got a job and was at a young age, 15, 16, I was kind of forgot about those things to a degree, if you see what I mean. I was too focused on life, if you see what I mean, and making money and, trying to excel. And, I knew then at that age that, especially I was living in the Caribbean too as well, and obviously the opportunities in regards to sports is a lot less than when you're living in, today we live, living in England or America or any of these places, if you see what I mean. The opportunity in regards to becoming a professional football player and earning a living from it is very, very slim in the Caribbean, to be very honest.
Anywhere, I think.
Well, you've got more opportunity in England and these other places because you've got young people that can get put at 5, 7 years old, they're going into football clubs. So and their whole life, they're literally, their parents put them in a club and they train their whole life and end up going on to become a professional football player.
If they're lucky.
That's all they know.
If they're lucky.
But even today, even if footballers playing in the Championship are still able to earn a decent living playing football, if you get what I'm saying. And they're not even in the Premier League, if you get what I'm saying. So they're still able to earn a decent, like I'm saying, they can earn a living from their their passion. So yeah.
I can understand why people do enjoy it, but I'd rather spend my time doing other things. I'm not here for too long. And I really, I do really want to do things, fulfill my life with stuff that means things. I think more
meaningful kind of,
Yeah. Well, it's, at the end of the day, is football meaningful? I don't see it. You see, I can't see it.
I think in some regards, yes, because it does bring people together.
Yeah,
it's kind of like music in a way. Sports is very similar to, obviously music is more powerful in my opinion in bringing people together, but sports is also a thing that also unites people. And there's a certain amount of like camaraderie and brotherhood kind of thing that goes along with that. You know, all their mates coming banding together on a Saturday or a Sunday, you know, Sunday during the day, and you know, going to the football game, and then afterwards going and having a roast dinner together and a few pints, and you know, kind of almost like family.
I mean, I can remember going to one football match when I was about 16, 15 years old, I think it was. My brother loves football. You know, he's 2 years older than me.
Yeah.
And like I say, we're both different. Even my brother. And even though when we were little, we shared the same bedroom. And we were with each other every night, really.
Yeah.
Until we were a little bit older, until, you know, my brother left when he was 18 or something like that. You know, he met somebody and met some, you know.
Yeah.
But I lived with him most of my life, do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
We weren't...
Yeah.
We're alike in some ways.
Yeah.
I think my brother, that's another thing about personality, you know, he was more like my dad, I feel.
Yeah.
And I'm more like my mum in personality, do you know what I mean? But even though we live together, we're a lot different, you know, like my brother loves football. He used to go to football matches, you know, he used to support Southampton Saints.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah.
And once I went with him, you know, when I was about 15, you know, and it just did not interest me. You know, I was more like a child that is more into taking things apart.
Yeah, I get you.
I was into
electronics and
you know, and, I was a bit of a wild child, really. You know, I used to sort of come up with lots of inventions. You know, sort of like I put an alarm in my bedroom. You know, and put a metal plate underneath on the stairs.
Yeah.
So if anyone's falling on the stairs, the light would, you know, the alarm would go off.
Yeah. So basically,
you know, I'd get notified
that someone was coming.
I was a bit of a bit of an inventor in a funny way. You know, not really interested in watching or spending time in like other children did. Do you know what I mean? I was in my own world.
Yeah.
Kind of way.
Creative and I think it's that thirst for knowledge in a way, because obviously your thirst for knowledge at that age was slightly different. You were taking shit apart to try and figure out how it worked and how it all kind of comes together. If you see what I mean, how it, you know, how it does its job essentially. You know, the mechanisms that are, you know. I guess that was the type of shit that intrigued you.
That's
right.
See
what I mean? To take it apart, to figure out what was, you know, what was making it work. You know.
Yeah, I just was interested in how things worked, really, more than anything. And I was interested in nature a little bit as well, you know. I used to sort of like look at the insects and things like that. And I think like in those days, there weren't any computer games about, you know what I mean? Things are a lot different than they are today.
Yeah. So
I think even personalities are changing even today, you know, because I feel like a lot of children are sort of playing games or on computers today. And there's not so many children interested in nature.
Yeah.
Or they haven't got time for it anymore. Or something, you know what I mean? And I just feel like that's something that's changed. I think like when I was younger, I think a lot of young children were more interested in nature.
Yeah.
But like now we've got this game world and computer world, I think it's changed.
Yeah, the internet age. Yeah.
I mean, do inventions change people's personalities? Do you know
I think so.
Like for instance, the internet. I feel like we were talking about the internet a bit last week, weren't we? I think, and it has changed my life. That's for sure, you know.
Yeah. But it's like even video games and shit. I think certain things do, because like if you give a young adolescent child a game to play, let's say for example, let's say you give a 10-year-old Grand Theft Auto to play, and you know what, I'm sure you're familiar with.
Kind of, yeah. It's a car sort of killing everything, isn't it?
Basically it's a game where you have to complete missions, basically.
By killing everything.
Basically, it's an adult game. Basically, it's for people who are 18 or 20.
But children play it.
But young people play it. So imagine someone who's that kind of age, you know, just fully realizing that they're really in the world and they're alive and what's going on. Their brain hasn't developed. They're not even a teenager yet. Hormones are probably, you know, not quite there, ready to for when they become a young adolescent teenager. And it's like, you know, they're repeatedly playing something for hours that involves killing and you know, abuse, if you see what I mean, you know, swearing and, you know, all sorts of shit, all sorts of wicked shit, if you see what I mean. That, you know, it's adult content essentially, you know, for adults to be playing. But a lot of these games end up in the young teenagers.
Of course they do.
End up playing them. And I was the same too when I was younger too. I remember being like 12, 13 years old and playing Grand Theft Auto and all this type of shit. But I was lucky in a sense where, because of where I was living, I spent most of my life outside. So I was never really on the video game and that, you know what I mean? I might play it every now and again for half an hour or an hour. And then I'd do something else, if you see what I mean. I was never like, you know. But yeah, you know, there are some people that, like you said, certain forms of entertainment can have like a excuse me, like a detrimental effect, if you see what I mean, on their personality. You know, who they are as a person, their character, if you see what I mean, essentially. You know, because their brain isn't developed. They're not able to decipher between what is real and what's not at that young age, if you get what I'm saying.
Oh, they're learning, aren't they? They're
So
new to the world.
they're not able to understand that this is only entertainment. It's like with rap music today. You get a lot of young people that try to emulate their idols, their rap idols or hip hop idols, talking about killing and shooting and selling drugs and all this type of shit. Meanwhile, a lot of these rappers are not even living that lifestyle. Or even if they used to live that lifestyle, they're not living like that.
Well, they're singing it because it makes money, doesn't it?
Exactly. And they're paid more to promote the negative, if you see what I mean. So, yeah, you know. So all these things can definitely have an effect on some people's, you know, their character and shit. You know, they start to view the world slightly differently. It's like people who, let's say, I don't want to talk about it too much because we've done a whole episode about it before, not long ago in the past, called porn. But porn, say for example, you get people that are so addicted to porn that they just view the opposite sex. They view the opposite sex as nothing more than a sexual object, if you get what I'm saying. They repeatedly watch so much adult content, if you see what I mean, that they just, because they're addicted to it, or whatever the case may be, that they eventually start to see women, say you're a man and you're addicted to porn. Sometimes some men start to eventually, you know, over time, start to view women as only nothing more than a sexual object, if you see what I mean. If you get what I mean, you know. So, yeah.
It depends really, you know. So I think we're all a little bit different. We're all brought up differently, aren't we? A little bit, you know.
Yeah.
Depends whether you have parents that are knowledgeable enough to sort of have children.
Yeah.
If you sort of mean. A lot of times they're not, are they? You know, a lot of people have children and it's kind of a mistake, if you sort of mean.
Yeah. And a lot of people don't like
when they're young.
And the thing is that a lot of people don't like to admit this. A lot of people don't admit. Well, some people will. Some people are quite open and they're quite happy to share. But a lot of people won't say, "Oh, this wasn't planned."
No.
You know.
Yeah.
A lot of women, say for example, and men, but sometimes would be like, "Oh yeah, it was planned." And meanwhile, it wasn't planned. It just happened. But because for the embarrassment factor, they try to say, "Oh yeah, it was planned. We've been trying to conceive for a little while now," or some kind of white lie, if you get what I mean. Yeah. So.
It's like when condoms come in. You know, I think they come in. Might have been in the 60s or 70s. I can't remember, but I can remember them kind of coming in.
Yeah.
And it's kind of like saying, oh, it's okay to sort of go out and have sex with whoever now.
Yeah.
In a funny way, you know, because you can wear these.
Yeah.
If you know what I mean. And it kind of made that new world where, you know, you can have safe sex, basically. Do you know what I mean? And it's alright to have partners because you know, wearing a condom, whatever, you're not really touching each other.
No, it's not skin to skin. Yeah, it's not skin to skin. Yeah. It's still intercourse, but it's not skin to skin.
So I think like it increased people's having sex more, if you sort of mean. You know, like I think like my granddad.
Yeah.
A long time back. I mean, my granddad's dead now, and he died when he was 95.
Yeah.
I think he died about 15 years ago. You know, whatever. But when my granddad was younger, they didn't have any condoms or anything.
That's what I'm saying.
You know, actually, my granddad had 9 children altogether.
Yeah.
I mean, and I think a lot of people didn't know.
Oh yeah, big family.
You know, there's no condoms for goodness sake, and it was like when they were in the mood probably, alright. They thought we better not because we don't want to get pregnant again. Do you know what I mean? You know, there's nothing.
Yeah.
to...
Today, I think a lot of it is the plan B. I think plan B today seems to be the most popular thing, if you get what I mean. That morning after pill.
Yeah.
I see it, there's a lot of people that, you know, a lot of younger, you know, females, it seems to be, you know, for example, seem to, you know, a lot of them, you know, have unprotected sex and then, you know, have to take that pill the next morning, you know, because, you know, sometimes things happen, you know. I don't know how. I think as a man, if you're going to be, okay, let's say for example you're a man and you're in a relationship, right? And you've not long got into the relationship and you guys start having unprotected sex. It's, what's funny about it is because, we've talked about it before, what's really funny to me about it really is people would start off having protected sex. And they won't go and get a test or anything, if you see what I mean. But because after a few weeks or a few months they feel like they know each other, they decide, oh, no more condom. But to me that defeats the whole purpose, isn't it? Because obviously you were having do you get what I'm saying? Because that's what most people do though, isn't it? Let's be honest about it. A lot of people will start off, like especially today, might start off having protected sex, you know, wearing a condom or, you know, rather be...
But it's nothing like the real thing.
But no. But what I'm saying is that people don't go and get that test. People will be like, oh, we've been together now for a couple of months, so maybe we can start having unprotected sex. It's like the whole point you were having protected sex in the beginning is because you were unsure. You didn't know this is a new partner, someone you've just, you know, got into a relationship with, or whatever the case may be. So it's like, you know, it's like, really and truly, people should be going to get, you know, tested. If you're going to have protected sex from the beginning, and you get to a certain point in your relationship, let's say 3-6 months, you know, or however long down the line, and you guys decide, okay, now we're going to, you know, we want to start having unprotected, you know, we want the real deal, you know. Been together for a little while now, we trust each other, we love each other, you know, things have been great, you know, and blah 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 blah. And we want to, you know, so, you know, just get tested and then, you know, but most people don't do that, do we? They'll be like, oh, we've been together for a few months, it's time now. Without any test. It's like, what was the point? You might have started from the beginning like that, because it's the same thing. Isn't it the same thing?
Yeah.
Honestly, if you really think about it, it's the same thing. You might have just started from the beginning, not using anything.
That's right.
Do you get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
It's so...
Well, I think like these inventions, like that for instance, you know, does change sort of like, I think, does it change personality, these kind of things, you know what I mean, these inventions, that's the thing. That's what I'm asking.
Yes, I think so, definitely. I think it does I think definitely, like you said, when these things were, like when condoms, let's say for example, like you talked about condoms first came around, I think like you said, it gave people more confidence to have, you know, to engage in sexual activity
and have it more often.
And be safe.
And have it more often.
But also to know that they're safe, like most of the time, because obviously sometimes things don't always work as they should too as well, if you see what I mean, you know. Sometimes condoms break, sometimes, you know, whatever they might, you know, you might have bought, you know, bought a box off the shelf from a shop somewhere and it might have been expired, or, you know what I mean, sometimes things happen. You know, not everything's 100%, you know, foolproof, so, you know.
Anyway, you know, like, personality, it's interesting, isn't it?
Yeah. And also...
You know, like, I don't know what my personality is really, by the way. You know, sometimes you can't see yourself, can you?
I think you can, but you've got to sit back and analyse yourself and assess yourself. And ask yourself, who am I, essentially, in that situation? And you've got to be honest with yourself. That's the hard part. That is when the real enlightenment really begins. If you're on a journey of self-discovery, I won't go on a rant, but if you're on a journey of self-discovery and understanding and getting to know oneself and who you truly are as a person, that is the first question you've got to ask yourself, is who am I? You know, and you go through, you start from the beginning. There's lots of different questions you can ask yourself. Am I an honest person? It's like in your head, you can have like a tick box, a yes and no on each side. Am I an honest person? Yes. Am I a trustworthy person? Yes. Am I a friendly person? Yes. Am I a loving person? Do you get what I mean? And if the answer is no, then you've got to be honest with yourself and put no in the box. Tick the, you know, put the tick in the no box, and then write all this shit down. write it all down, and then you can see it on a piece of paper. The areas of your life that you need to improve in. For some people, it might be procrastination or laziness. Am I lazy? Yes or no? And that's when you're being brutally honest with yourself. If you are truly honest with yourself, you'll know whether or not it's a yes or a no. And then you can read it. You don't have to share it with anyone. It's for your own individual growth and assessment, like you were just saying. But you can read it off a piece of paper, and you can literally sit there and read it and say, okay, these are all the areas of my life that I thrive in, and these are the areas that I need work or I need to really improve in. So, yeah. And I think that in turn helps your personality. You become a better person, you know?
Or who am I?
Yeah.
And who do I want to be?
Correct.
It's important, I think.
Correct.
Or who do you want to become?
Who do you want to become? That's the one. Yeah, that's the one.
I mean, personally, I don't want to ever become a wicked person.
No.
I want to become as pure as possible.
That's it. We're on a righteous path.
Yeah.
Just do right by people.
Yeah.
By all people. And if people do wrong by you, then just leave them alone. There's no need to get revenge. Well, it depends on the circumstance, you know, but in general, 99% of the time, there won't be any need for any form of revenge, or, if you get what I mean, just leave people alone, you know. If you realise that people, you know, if they are detrimental to your life, if they only bring negativity and strife and problems and bad energy, and you know, the type of person that's got a problem for every solution, if you see what I mean, then yeah, sometimes you have to eliminate those people from your life. And you don't have to be nasty about it. You just say, listen, really sorry, mate, but like you've had to do a couple of times. Say, listen, I just don't want you around. I don't want you, don't want you coming around to my house anymore. Sorry. You know, I don't like your energy. I don't like your vibe. Every time, you know, you're bringing stress and problems to my life that I don't need. I've got a lot, you know.
Yeah, personally, I used to sort of hang around, because I used to drink myself, you know.
Yeah.
Say, about 6 years back.
Yeah.
And then I gave it up, and then I told my friends I don't want to drink with you anymore, do you know what I mean? So I had to give up them too. You know, and that's the way life goes sometimes, isn't it? Yeah.
But a lot of times, sometimes change is hard to make, but sometimes that change can be for the better. You know, sometimes it sounds harsh, and I know it's hard, because especially if you've had to do it before. I've had to do it before too as well. I had to let certain people and just say, listen, you're not a trustworthy person, if you see what I mean. Like a few people that I've, you know, this is going back years ago now anyway, but I remember a time like having a few, like I might have had one or two, like most of my boys, we were all loyal to each other and trustworthy, you know what I mean? But obviously every now and again you might get one or two that's in the crew that's not really, you know, and be like, sorry mate, like, you know what I mean, like, no disrespect, or, you know what I mean, there's no love lost, you know what I mean, it was, you know, our friendship
you
was...
just don't want to go down the same road.
Exactly, our friendship was nice while it lasted, but I'm going off in a different direction, and you're going somewhere that I'm not looking to go. So, you know what I mean, if that means that we got to part ways, and we, you know what I mean, we stop, shouting at each other and doing certain things, and, you know, it is what it is, you know.
I think personally, like, personality has got a lot to do with experience and knowledge as well.
Yeah.
And like, some people are shy.
Yeah.
Than others as well. You know, some people are really shy. Some people are not shy. Some people are confident.
Yes.
Some people go around angry. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Some people are quite happy in life. You know. So I think that's all down to personality too. So, you know, like, overcoming your fears, overcoming your shyness. Yeah. That would change your personality, so you won't be a shy person anymore.
True.
You see what I mean? Or an angry person.
Your personality can evolve. Yeah.
I mean, it's like when I was younger, I used to sort of lose my temper very quickly, actually. You know, when I was a young lad, you know. Yeah. But slowly in time I've matured. Yeah. Each year, you know, and I don't have a temper anymore, you know, I just relax with my mind, you know, it's just a peaceful mind most of the time, you know what I mean? Yeah. I mean, even if I have an accident in my own home, like cook my dinner, and it's taken me a long time to cook, and I put a lot of effort into it, and I sort of burn myself taking it out of the oven and it drops on the floor, I I just think, oh wow, you know, I just laugh at it. You just do it again. You know, that's the kind of personality I am. You know, because life's too short to crumble.
Yeah.
In a kind of way. I mean, I read a quote. I can't remember who it's by. Okay. The secret of happiness is appreciation and being grateful with it.
Yes.
That's the secret of happiness. You know, not a lot of people know this. You know, these little wisdoms, really, of words, really, that can help someone's personality a big deal for them to change into a brighter light than they were the day before. If you sort of coming from.
Yeah.
You know, even myself, like I've said several times before in previous episodes, I'm learning every day, and I've got an energy in me that I want to learn. Do you know what I mean? I can't wait to learn more.
Yeah.
You know, I don't know it all, and I don't want to know it all. And there's some things that I've learned in life or seen in the past that I wish I didn't see.
Of course.
Or wish I didn't learn about. You see what I mean? So
yeah, same.
You have got to be careful about what you see in the kind of way, you know, it's like see no evil, hear no evil, three monkeys, alright?
Yeah, speak no evil.
And speak no evil. There is truth in that as well, you know, like if you keep your way away from these things, you're not going to have nightmares in a kind of way.
Yeah.
You know, you're going to have a peaceful experience through life if you guide yourself away from the bad things in life.
Yeah.
If you see what I mean. You know, I mean, me personally, I've never gone to the cinema and see a horror film, really, you know. I wouldn't really want to pay money for a nightmare.
Yeah. Right.
If you see what I mean.
Well, it's funny, right, mate? I've watched, not that I watch many horror films, but I must say...
I do like them sometimes.
I never, ever had a nightmare.
No, I have.
After watching a film before. Maybe when I was very, very young. If you see what I mean, like 7, 8 years old, that kind of, you know, like, you know, if I might watch something that, you know, I shouldn't have really seen at that age, you know, being around my parents or my older sister or something, if you see what I mean. I might, you never know, I might have had a nightmare or something, you know. But for a long time, mate, you know, I haven't had a nightmare or anything like that, you know. Yeah.
I remember you
give thanks, you know.
I remember you talking about your sister. Your younger sister or something, the Lord of the Rings with Gollum or something.
Oh no, my oldest sister.
Yeah, sorry, older sister.
Yeah. I remember, being young and being, because she was a bit, you know, she was, I think after she'd watched the Lord of the Rings trilogy, you know, because obviously quite an old thing.
It's not an 18 though, is it?
I think it was a 12 or 15.
I think it should have been an 18, you know. They are quite scary, you know, like watching Gollum, you know, it looks quite real, you know.
But the thing is, my mum in the Caribbean, how it used to be back then, because obviously back then it was still tape.
Yeah.
If you get what I'm saying. So you had to go to the video store, rent the tapes, and my mum and my stepfather at the time, who was around for a few years, he would go to the video shop and you get like 5 or 6 for like $5 or something. You could rent them for like 3 or 4 days, and then you have to return them and get more, kind of thing.
I think everyone's doing almost, weren't they, getting movies out, you know.
So, yeah, I remember her watching the trilogy. I think she must have watched it with my mum or something, because I didn't watch it when I was young. It didn't really interest me, to be honest, at that age anyway. And, yeah, I remember her being petrified of Gollum, you know, and like you said, you know, scaring the living.
Sometimes for years, you know, children could be scared for years, you know, they'd seen
well,
something like that.
I think it was the scene, I think to be exact, I think it was a scene in Lord of the Rings where like Gollum's like holding the ring and he's like, my precious.
Oh yeah.
That kind of thing. And I think that's what she was quite scared of at the time, you know. Because, you know, she was still fairly young too. And I remember jumping out of the closet one night, you know,